You are sitting at your desk staring at a flickering computer screen. Suddenly, the floor begins to tremble beneath your expensive ergonomic chair. Your first instinct is to look for something solid and rigid to grab. We are taught that strength means standing perfectly still and resisting the force. But 1,400 years ago, ancient builders knew that rigidity was actually a death sentence. Imagine standing inside a wooden skyscraper in the year 700 AD. The earth is ripping itself apart beneath the heavy timber foundations. Every joint in the building is groaning like a living, breathing beast, but the building does not shatter or crumble into the dust. Instead, it begins to dance with the rhythm of the shifting tectonic plates. If you find that level of ancient genius absolutely mind-blowing, welcome to Whyzer. Hit that subscribe button now to join a community that values ancestral brilliance. We are going to find out why ancient wood outlasts modern reinforced steel. The secret to their survival might just change how you handle your stress. Ancient Chinese engineers did not try to fight the immense power of nature. They did not build massive walls designed to simply stand their ground. Instead, they pioneered a philosophy of flexible strength that feels like pure magic. In the modern world, we use heavy bolts and unyielding concrete pillars. If a modern building cannot move, it eventually snaps under extreme pressure. But the ancient pagodas used a system called dugong to solve this. Dugong is a complex network of interlocking wooden brackets that look like clouds. These brackets do not use a single metal nail or drop of glue. They are simply stacked and fitted together with incredible mathematical precision. When an earthquake hits, these wooden pieces begin to slide against each other. They rub and shift, converting dangerous kinetic energy into harmless friction and heat. It is essentially the world's first and most effective shock absorber system. Think about how you feel when a project at work goes completely wrong. If you stay rigid and angry, you eventually burn out and break down. But if you learn to shift and adapt, you survive the corporate storm. These ancient brackets are a physical manifestation of that exact psychological resilience. They allow the roof to sway while the core remains perfectly safe. The energy of the earthquake is literally drained away by the moving wood. By the time the shock reaches the top, it has lost its bite. Scientists today are still trying to replicate this level of effortless energy dissipation. Now, let's look at how they held the whole skeleton together. They used a technique known as mortise and tenon joints for every connection. This involves a male part and a female part carved directly into wood. It creates a semi-elastic skeleton that can deform without ever losing its shape. Unlike a nail that can pull out, these joints get tighter under pressure. The building behaves more like a giant willow tree than a stiff rock. This is why you feel the urge to stretch after a long day. Your body knows that being stiff is the fastest way to get hurt. Ancient humans applied this biological truth to the very buildings they lived in. But what happened when they moved away from wood and used heavy bricks? You would think a brick building would be much more brittle and dangerous, especially during the Sui and Tang dynasties when they built massive brick structures. But they had a secret weapon hidden inside their mortar all along. They didn't just use mud or simple lime to hold the stones together. They mixed slaked lime with a thick, concentrated soup of sticky rice. This created a biological glue containing a powerful substance called amylopectin. This organic additive turned the mortar into a high-tech composite material. It was waterproof, incredibly strong, and slightly flexible all at the same time. This mortar bound the bricks so tightly they became a single monolithic block. Imagine trying to snap a single stick versus trying to snap a mountain. This sticky rice technology is why walls from 2,400 years ago still stand. It is the same reason you value a deep bond with your friends. A group that is glued together by trust is impossible to break apart. This ancient glue proved that the best engineering often comes from the kitchen. But even with the best glue, you need a foundation that understands movement. In Xi'an, there is a structure called the Small Wild Goose Pagoda. It was built over 2,300 years ago and has a legendary reputation. During a massive earthquake in 1487, a giant crack split it in half. The fissure ran from the very top all the way to the base. Decades later, another massive quake hit the same region with terrifying force. Instead of falling over, the crack reportedly closed itself back up perfectly. People at the time called it a miracle or a self-healing building. But the truth is actually found in the clever design of its foundation. The pagoda was built on a hemispherical platform made of rammed earth. It acts like a giant roly-poly toy that always returns to the center. When the earth moved, the weight of the building shifted on this base. The pressure of gravity literally pushed the two halves back together again. It is a reminder that even when you feel broken, you can heal. Ancient survival required finding ways to turn destruction into a path for recovery. Then there is the Sakyamuni Pagoda, the oldest wooden tower in the world. Standing at 67 meters tall, it has survived over 40 major earthquakes. One of these quakes in 1556 was the deadliest in all of human history. It killed nearly 1 million people, yet this wooden tower did not fall. It uses 54 different types of dugong brackets to stay upright and flexible. Modern 3D laser scans show that the joints are still structurally resilient today. Even after being hit by modern artillery during wars, it refuses to collapse. It is a tube-in-tube structure with an inner core and outer shell. The outer shell takes the hits while the inner core stays protected. This is why we have a public face and a private inner life. You protect your core values by letting the outer world bounce off you. Japanese builders eventually took these Chinese ideas and added their own unique twist. They introduced a central heart pillar called the Shinbashira to their tall pagodas. This pillar is often suspended from the top or rests on the ground. It is not actually attached to the floors of the building at all. When the earthquake strikes, the pillar and the building sway at different speeds. They essentially cancel each other out, preventing the tower from gaining momentum. It is a masterclass in using internal balance to survive external chaos. Think about how a calm person can steady a room full of panic. That heart pillar is the calm center in the middle of a tectonic storm. In 2026, researchers used AI to check the health of these ancient structures. They used electromagnetic resonance to see through the Yaspardian 400-year-old brick walls. They discovered that the internal earth cores have actually petrified over time. They have turned into something harder than modern stone through natural carbonization. Ancient survival strategies have literally become stronger the longer they have existed. Shaking table tests on scale models show these buildings withstand magnitude 9 quakes. Modern concrete buildings often crumble long before these wooden towers even flinch. We often look at the past and see primitive people with simple tools. But these engineers were brilliant scientists who understood physics on a deep level. They understood that the universe is always in motion and never static. By building with the earth instead of against it, they achieved immortality. Every time you feel overwhelmed by the pressure of your modern life, every time you feel like the world is shaking beneath your tired feet, remember that you come from a long line of survivors who knew flexibility. You are not a rigid piece of stone meant to be shattered. You are a complex system of brackets and joints designed to sway. You were built to absorb the shock and keep standing tall tomorrow. Strength is not about how much force you can take without moving. Strength is about how much you can bend without ever losing yourself. You are not malfunctioning when you feel the need to change and adapt. You are simply remembering the ancient wisdom of the builders who came before. If this story shifted your perspective on strength, leave a comment below. Tell us which ancient technology fascinates you the most in this world. Don't forget to like this video and share it with a friend. See you in the next deep dive into our incredible human story. You were always meant to survive the storm.